It's a good win. There's a lot of people. It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
Don't eat a damn snack.
You're like my wife when you get in space. You just get lost.
It's ahead! Short steps are better than long steps. That's the only time in your life you're going to hear short is better than long. It's ahead!
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to 614 Headsets, the weekly sports podcast where we say football is unconditional love. We're three high school football coaches from Columbus, Ohio. We consider our show a movement of this lifestyle, of this great game we love. We're excited to have you join us in this movement we're all about. Boys, say what's up to everybody.
How we doing? Excited to get on here with the boys. The best day of the week right here.
Appreciate everyone for tuning in and hope you enjoy this episode and many more.
Hey, make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever your favorite platform is. Give us a like, give us a comment. Follow the show at 614headsets.com and check out the lab and all the fun X's and O's things that we're trying to bring to you on there. And we appreciate everybody that is following us. And if it's your first time joining us, we hope you stay with us. All right, everybody enjoy the show. As we get rolling today, 614 Headsets is proud to be presented by Fundraising University. Fundraising University Ohio offers a variety of fundraising efforts that helps football teams run profitable, effective, and fast-paced fundraisers designed to raise the most money in the shortest amount of time to reach their fundraising goals. Fundraising University Ohio is locally owned, operated, and with their 6-step blitz system will help your team maximize profits. As a current coach himself, Brent Maxwell with Fundraising University will sit down and help you pick, plan, strategize, and execute your fundraiser that will allow you as a coach to focus on your practice time, prep time, player development, and personal time. If you're interested in us running a fundraiser for you, please contact Brent Maxwell at the letter B Maxwell at fundraising.net or 740-501-8946 to learn how you can get started with fundraising.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome again to 614 Headsets. If you haven't yet, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow us all on Twitter. You can see our little individual tags on your screen below. But we got a great guest today. We got head coach at Westerville Central, Josh Franke, serves as an assistant at Central Crossing in 2010. And Coach, I was going through your kind of background, the amount of experience and knowledge that you have. I'm really excited to pick your brain on. But Central Crossing for a little bit, head coach at Middlesex High School in Virginia, 2011 to 2012, head coach at Edgewood High School from 2013 to 2014. Head coach at Newton Falls from 2015 to 2018, and then most recently head coach at Toronto from 2018 to 2013 before making the trip down to Columbus for Westerville Central. So, Coach, we appreciate you coming on. Really excited for this episode today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's always fun to just get on there, talk some ball with some guys. Look forward to it.
Awesome.
There
Sayers?
we go. I think we're ready to roll, right? Get right into it.
I think we're
Thank
ready for
you,
your
Kyle,
famous
again.
segment.
Shout out like I did last time. Shout out, Kyle, for splitting the ad read up for me. I appreciate that. I know people were sick of listening to me read. Here we go, though. The Pick Six segment is powered by Story Rival Sports Media. Championships, friendships, and life lessons are among the most meaningful parts of athletic competition. We are passionate about preserving them by offering the most unique highlight experience available.
That's right. Story Rivals delivers your team's content with services designed to change the way you experience these unforgettable moments now and for a lifetime. Story Rivals now offers a complete team apparel and player shop customizable to your program. Contact us by email at info@storyrivals.com to schedule an appointment with our team. And I'm going to tell you right now, we just did our first player shop with Aaron and Story Rivals, and I can't wait to get what I purchased. We got a complete set of all black murdered out team gear coming. I'm really excited at the design. I'm excited about what it is, and I can't wait to see our first time working with Aaron and them. And I'll send some pictures. I'll let you guys see it. It's been a great experience so far. The store looks phenomenal. It's been easy and excited.
I like the new lion. I like that new little lion. I'm going to say that.
The vintage lion for 2024. Yep.
That does look fire.
So with Aaron, it's still the original one, but that black on black all over is going to look pretty cool with our player stuff this year. So I'm excited about that. So Coach, this is a pick six segment. You knew it was coming, but you have no idea what these questions are. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. We took it easy, but we're going to round robin it. Sayers, what you got for this man first?
This one came up in when I was talking to another teacher in the building. This will determine what kind of person you are. And in my opinion, I agree with what they were saying, one of the teachers. Do you do your shopping at Kroger, Walmart, Meijer, or Giant Eagle?
Okay, listen, we don't have any Meijer down here in Toronto. I think Walmart. We do a lot at Walmart. Now, listen, we've also gone to Kroger. We have no Giant Eagle, so it's like Kroger, Walmart's our only two options.
I was saying that Giant Eagle's like the bougie grocery store. If you're going to Giant Eagle, you got money. That's where Donovan shops.
Better beer selection, though. Better beer selection.
That's a valid point. They do have a lot better beer.
It just depends what you're shopping for. Is it a quick trip? Is it the whole week's groceries?
You remember those sours that I had at the restaurant we went to that one time? That's the only place that has those in store.
Yeah. Listen, man, we're one of those families was like grocery shopping happens like every 3 weeks. And then like we walk out of there with a $500 bill and it's bad. And then like your cart's overflowing. And so it's got to be Walmart. I wouldn't make it through Giant Eagle, I don't think.
No, it'd be $1,000, but Donovan likes that.
Only Donovan would. Yeah.
Now, go ahead. Donnie Mac, you're up next.
I don't know where this is coming from, but my first question is: you've been I alluded to this. You've been a head coach at a few different places. Is there a spot or a school in mind that you grew the most as a coach, or personally that comes front and center to your mind, maybe throughout the years?
Yeah, I'd have to say Toronto. So Toronto's my alma mater, and really weird story. So I was a head coach at Middlesex, and then Edgewood, and then Newton Falls, and then I came in second for the Toronto job, and they asked me to come in and just be an assistant, be the offensive coordinator, and then before the job, I was depressed, man. My own alma mater doesn't want me. Like it was a little depressing, and then come Memorial Day weekend, I get a call that the coach had already left. He was a brand new coach, never coached a single practice, left for another school. And then I get a call and I'm like, hey, you're the head coach. So I think that made me realize how much I really wanted to be the head coach at Toronto. It's a Division VII school, and I felt like I was taking some steps backwards. But hindsight, looking back on the past 6 seasons, I guess I didn't realize how much I needed Toronto. I needed to get home and get back to where my love of football kind of all started from. And so being here and going through some of the things that I had to go through to get to the successful seasons we've had the last several years. I think that only could have been done here, and it only could have been done with a group of people who supported me. And I was the hometown kid. So I don't know if I would have gotten that level of support somewhere else.
I love that. Yeah, I always thought it'd be really cool to coach at your alma mater. My friend Ryan Stackhouse does, and Donovan gets to coach at his alma mater. I think that's probably a really special bond. I'm gonna piggyback in
coaching at the alma mater for real though.
That'd be awesome.
One of the best feelings.
It is, and I'm not gonna lie, that's what made it really hard to make the decision to leave. So, anyways.
So, Coach, what is the best advice someone maybe ever gave you about the coaching profession? As a lot of people give you advice and different things, what is maybe a nugget somebody has gave you that's really good that you would spread to somebody else?
It's funny you say that because it actually comes from my days as an assistant at Central Crossing. Chris Haar, who was the head coach there, who I've since now hired as my defensive coordinator at Central, when I went in to tell him I was leaving to take a head coaching job, he had done some groundwork to make it so where I could potentially teach at Central Crossing the next year and continue being assistant there. I was just finishing up my student teaching my first year. And I think he was really disappointed when I went in and told him I was leaving. But I will say, like, the final kind of words that he said to me was, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. And that was it. Like, he didn't go into depth with that. Like, he didn't say anything else like about what that meant. He just said, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. And it wasn't until going through being a head coach to realize like what he meant. And looking back, he's referring to all the other things that you have to deal with as a head coach, that you're constantly trying to put out fires. Like there's always things that are happening behind the scenes that necessarily you don't even see as an assistant, that you're just trying to put out those fires constantly, trying to appease people, make people happy, and make sure that the program continues to have that positive vibe. And I don't think, you realize that until you're in that situation and you're experiencing that turmoil and trying to figure out the best solutions to those.
No, I like that. So my question is, as you're heading in to be a new coach, a new head coach at a school, at a bigger Division I school, what is the number one challenge you view that you have to face?
That's a great question. And honestly, I don't think that everyone wants to talk about the size of the school and how that's going to be a challenge and how that's going to be different. And I just don't listen, man. Football's football. It comes down to blocking and tackling. And at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in having a successful program is about building relationships with the kids. It doesn't matter how much or how good your X's and O's are, or even how great the players are. If you don't have that relationship with your team, it's not going to matter. Like I've seen teams where I haven't had a lot of talent do really well. And I've seen some really talented teams not win a football game all season because that relationship wasn't there, or there just wasn't that bond. So I think as I've gotten older and I've gotten into this and I'm going into my 14th season now as a head coach, I've realized that it's not about me. Like it's not my program. And I think people like see the coach and they refer to it as, oh, this is your program. No, it's not. This is the kids' program. I'm just here to help guide them along the way. And I think once you come to that realization, you start to build that bond in the relationships. I think that's when you start to become a much better coach and a more successful coach.
That's awesome. Coach, my second question is not football related. This has just been a hot topic at home and at work. You got $1 million. You got 30 days to spend it. You can't spend it on a house. What are some of the things you might buy?
To be honest with you, I'm traveling. I'm spending all my money almost on travel probably. Again, I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old, and me and my wife are having conversations about what we're doing this summer for vacation, family vacation. And it's dawned on me, like with my 11-year-old, we have 7 years left. And I feel like sometimes you get so wrapped up into time, and like my kids both play sports and competition cheer and all this. And like we're constantly running, and sooner or later that time's going to be gone. And so if anything, I would like to take that money and just see the world with my family. And I think, and again, like when Christmas rolls around or birthday rolls around or anything like that, and people are asking me what I want, like I tell my mom, I want a trip. Like I want to go somewhere for the weekends. I think that's important to me, just getting away with family, spending time with them, seeing the world and making memories. Because, sooner or later that's all gone. And you look back and you wonder what the hell happened.
It flies, man. I got a daughter who's 3 and a son who's 6 months, but I was just looking at my daughter tonight, like, when did you get so tall? And like, when did you just get to this point?
Right.
It's just crazy. I can only imagine as it goes on. I think that's great. Those memories, things you can't replace.
Right.
It's interesting, Donovan, to prove our point about how the whole travel to Europe and the wedding, you just sit around and talk about if you had $1 million all the time.
Yeah.
Like
it was a hot topic at work. Of
hot topic. Hey,
babe,
hey, we get $1 million. Hey, interesting conversations over there. But
I wish, man.
Thank you for proving our point.
About getting $1 million,
right? Yeah,
you gotta have fun.
Once again, different conversations going on in our household and this guy's household.
I think it's probably because we have kids, right? Stop.
Yeah.
Like, we know where our money's going.
Look at him roll his eyes. Look at him roll his eyes. We won't even get. Are you honeymooning at your parents' house in Florida?
Yes. It's free.
One of their 5 properties.
No.
Oh, look at him. Okay. Oh man, we're learning a lot about Donovan tonight. This is very refreshing because everybody's ganged up on me for multiple episodes for my age, so I'm really happy. But Coach, outside of being a football coach, which obviously takes up all of our time, and you say you're dad, so that takes up the other chunk. Like, what are some other hobbies or things you're passionate about outside of those 2 things?
When I'm not playing taxi and being at volleyball tournaments and basketball tournaments, competition cheer and all that fun stuff, or I'm not doing football related things. If I get some opportunities to play golf, I'll take it. I don't get to play a ton, but love playing golf. And I guess like I do work out. I'll make sure I get to the gym, work out. But I guess the what I do the most to burn time and relax is I'll jump on Warzone. Big resurgence guy.
Used to be, huh, Ryan? The best thing ever was Ryan. It was COVID. That was awesome.
That's when I got in, man. That's when I got hooked. Was COVID, yeah.
But then the best thing was like I had my daughter and Ryan had his son a month after, and we each took the night shift together. And so we almost had our babies like synced up. And so we basically like played Call of Duty all night. And then we both hopped off and we had to feed our kids. And the moment we got them both back down, we hopped back on. And we did that from 10, 11 p.m. till 5 in the morning like, together. Yeah. And Xbox Live at about 3, 4 a.m. is a different world.
We made friends with people from like the Middle East, man. Like
how many?
It was great. It was unbelievable. That was probably one of the funnest things that I've ever experienced, because I was up all night just playing video games. I felt like I was in school or in high school again. But
right. It's always more fun when you have people that you know that you're playing with. And I have a couple other coaches that play. So it's just, I think we're all in this boat together. We know how stressful it can get, and just be able to get on there for a little bit and just blow off some steam and not have to think about football and just preoccupy yourself. I think it just helps just take your mind off things.
Love it. That's great. Hey, let's get in this main section here. A lot of times we start an episode off and it has a very kind of clear theme, but we really wanted to make this a get to know you segment. Say, welcome to Columbus. Welcome to the OC. Excited to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Westerville. I'm in Westerville myself. And so one of the things I want to talk about is I just want to dive into the Westerville Central side of things, and just with what you can share. What's the style of football you're hoping to bring to Westerville Central? You've probably had some time to dive into some tape now. You've had some time to look into some opponents and things. What are you trying to bring to Westerville Central? What's your philosophy of the style of ball? What can people who are listening expect to see?
Listen, man, we live and die off explosive plays. I'm a firm believer in explosive plays. I think there's been a lot of, even at the NFL level, there's been a lot of studies that show that the teams that win are usually the teams that win the turnover battle and win the explosive play battle. So that's like our teams that I've had. That's where our focus is. Win those two categories, usually win the football game. Explosive plays are huge, whether they're in the run game, pass game, and that's what we're trying to do. And the way we try to do that is just like out leverage defenses. We do a lot of manipulation with our formations and motions, just like window dressing, and see if we can't get defenses misaligned. And usually we can, and then that's when those explosives usually happen. People ask me, like, who are the teams you're studying? Or let's face it, we're all stealing something from somebody. Who are the teams that kind of influence our style of play? And I usually say, hey, if you take the Dolphins and you take the 49ers, you throw in some USC and Lincoln Riley, and then you sprinkle some Ravens run game in there as well. That's usually what you get offensively from my team. You're going to get some quarterback run game. I'm not a huge RPO guy. I know that has been up and coming. I think it's starting to die down now with a lot of the 3 high safety looks that teams are starting to present now, but not a big RPO guy. But again, just trying to present options that put defenses in difficult positions.
That's awesome. Coach, we talked with Coach Callan over at Westerville South not too long ago, and I asked him about the rivalry in Westerville, the rule of the Ville. I think that's
right.
The correct phrasing of it.
Right.
What are your kind of early thoughts on that mantra, that rivalry? What have you heard about it coming out to this point?
And so first off, I should say my wife graduated from Westerville North. I got to throw that on the table right there. I think since we've been married, it's been one of those things where and then again, I went to Otterbein, so I'm familiar with Westerville. So knowing that those schools are rivals, I think it's just, I've always paid attention to the Westerville schools throughout my career just to see how they're doing, because I have a connection there. So obviously, I think it's self-evident that you want to be the best Westerville school, right? I think that's pretty self-evident. And the fact that you have North and you have South, you want to beat them. You want to be the best that there is. I know that there's the Maxtown trophies on the line for Westerville North. I know there's a trophy on the line for Westerville South games. We want to win those. And to be honest with you, I feel like if you win those games, you set yourself up for a successful season. And let's face it, this year we get them weeks 1 and 2 right out the gate. We're going to find out how different Division 7 football and Division 1 football are real fast. You get your rivals right out the gate. You're playing for some rivalry trophies right out the gate. And I'm looking forward to it. But put it this way, I have enough emphasis on those games that the very first purchase order I made when I got to Central was 2 countdown clocks. 1 countdown clock counts down to Westerville North. The other one counts down to Westerville South. And that's the only 2 games those clocks are counting down. And the day those games are over, we're resetting the clock for next year. Those 2 games are going to be our emphasis in this program, and winning those 2 games are going to be a large emphasis for us. And again, I think if you have success and you do win those games, you're probably going to set yourself up for a successful season.
And it's interesting if you think about the whole rivalry series. You've got Coach Jackson, who's just off his first year in the rivalry, and now Coach Cowan, yourself, and it's almost like a whole new chapter and resetting like what those battles might be. So
Right.
we're looking forward to it, and it's a new turning in that thing. So
That's exciting though for you guys. I feel like obviously those games are exciting. When you've been there so far, what are you seeing that's exciting you most about the program that you've taken over? What are you seeing out of the guys, maybe, or maybe just from an admin perspective? What's one thing that you're most excited about?
Interacting with the kids, they want to win. And early on, and again, not that this is a huge deal because I think it's the world we live in right now, but early on, when I first got the job, there were some talks that some of our key players might leave and might transfer out. And again, with the transfer portal stuff happening at the college level, I guess that's just what we have to deal with, is trickle-down effect. And I don't blame anybody for that. Here I am, some random guy from Toronto, Ohio, 2.5 hours away, taking the job. They don't know anything about me. I didn't take it personal, but from day one, it was like reaching out to those guys and being like, how can I retain these guys? How can I recruit these guys to stay with my program? And I think the message early from all of those guys were like, we want to win. We want to win. Like we want to win football games. And they all feel like they're talented players, and they want to be, nobody wants to lose. Losing sucks. So just being able to be around those kids and understand how winning is a priority for them, how bad they want to be successful, especially the kids that are going to be seniors. They want to go out the right way. They want to go out on top. And it's something that learning that's where their passion is, and that they have some drive there. I think it was even more exciting for me to get going and again, try to juggle between 2 places, but try to get as much work done early on as I can up at Central.
Coach, what do you think as you get ready? You've mentioned the obvious change from Division 7 to the Division 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people have tried to use that as a negative or something against you possibly. But what are you most excited about with coming to Columbus, Ohio, or coming to the OCC?
The level of competition. Every week you're playing kids that are going to be going on and playing college football at in some cases at very elite levels. And then I feel like these are the best coaches in the state of Ohio. Just the opportunity to compete against the players and the coaches and earn that spot, or earn my name amongst those other people, I think is something I really look forward to. And at first, I think before I really got into any of the film and I started watching stuff, you have these preconceived conceptions of what you think Division I football is going to be like. And the more and more I watched film on opposing teams, the more and more I'm watching opposing defenses and the coverages they're running, the different schemes that and I guess I'm getting more and more comfortable with, I can do this. Like, I can do this. This is football. Like, this isn't, I'm prepping for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is still high school football. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the competition. I'm excited to run a highly complex college style offense. I'm excited to implement that at this level with the type of athletes we have at Central, and just see how, again, if I can earn my seat at the table.
Not to beat a dead horse, but we talk about the Division 7 and Division 1 difference, or the move, but flip it around a little bit. Is there anything you wish that coaches or communities or whoever it may be could understand from the experiences at a Division 7 school, or its numbers are different, where resources may be different? Is there anything you wish that other realm would understand more from maybe some experiences you've had at Division 7 school?
As far as, do you mean the people at the Division 1 level?
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish sometimes maybe is talked about more or understood more in terms of resources, or in terms of styles or community, whatever it may be?
I think, again, and I mentioned this earlier, like, football's football, right? And running a football program is a whole lot like running a business. And whether you have 35 employees like I had, or you're going to have 100 employees like I'm going to have, you're still running a business. And I think one of the things, and I've told myself as I go, is don't forget what got you here. Don't forget to do the things that got you to this place. And what got me to this place and what built a successful program or business at Toronto was my relationship with my players. And that is going, now I get, instead of impacting 35 kids, now I get to impact even more kids. And that's the way I look at it. One of the things that, in my opinion, one of the things I have to do here to build this program is build that relationship with the kids. And that happens in several different facets. That happens at a recruiting level, like marketing your players to make sure they're getting recruited. I think 10 years ago, there was probably this adage like, oh, if you were good, college coaches are going to find you. That's not the case anymore. Like, you got to market yourself. You got to get your name out there. And I feel like a lot of head coaches aren't doing that for their kids. I did that at Toronto, and it speaks volumes. Like, we've had 3 kids sign in the Division II level in the past 3 years. We've had 1 kid go Division I, and we currently have 3 kids who are being recruited by Division I schools. Like, our quarterback's committed to the University of Cincinnati, and we got 35 kids on our roster. Just being able to develop those kids, market those kids, and get them opportunities at the next level. What we started seeing was more kids from surrounding areas wanting to be at Toronto, wanting to partake and be a part of that program and come play here. So then you have the other aspect of things is, like, we went out, fundraised our tail off, and raised a lot of money for our kids. Every dime we made went back to our kids. So, like, our kids had like 3 different jersey combinations. They had their main helmet. They had an alternate Speed Flex helmet that they had. They got warm-up gear to travel in. You make the playoffs, you were getting your own custom playoff jersey that you got to keep. And we were buying them Nike Tech zips for playoffs, and like, just spoiling those kids. And people some people think that's ridiculous. But the way I see it is, when you take care of those kids, you take care of those players. Number one, more kids want to play football, which is never a bad thing. Number two, what you end up seeing happen is kids start to have pride in the program. You know what I mean? They start to feel that sense of pride of, look how we're being treated. Playing football here at Toronto is special. So then that transitions, I believe, to Friday nights. Like, they're going to work harder. It's going to mean more. They're going to play harder. They're going to play for their coach, who is going out there trying to make all these things happen. We constantly make sure, like, playoff weeks, we made sure our kids were fed every night that week. A restaurant donated food, or the boosters paid for, or something like that. But literally spoiled our kids. And then I think the other aspect of that is making sure that they're giving back to the community. We've had children's hospital visits, and we've gone to the humane shelter and walked dogs, and we've done trunk or treats and grocery carries and all kinds of different things where we've gotten involved in the community. So when you take all of those things, I think that's what built a good program. And it doesn't matter if you're at the Division 7 level, Division 4 level, Division 1 level. If you do those things, you're going to have success. Again, it's the recipe. And I feel like the recipe works at any level of football. And just because you have more players, and what does that really mean? Okay, now I have more hands to go do more work for. I can affect more people's lives. And I've not really looked at it as a challenge like a lot of people may have looked at it. I look at it more as like a blessing. Like, this is an opportunity. So I'm excited about it.
Coach, is there any point in your career that you thought was maybe like a changing or a pivotal moment?
Yeah. So going into my second year at Toronto, we had some things happen that summer that weren't great. Like, we had some kids we're talking like June, July, we had some kids that got in trouble. Got in trouble with the law. Like, a kid stole a pair of sunglasses from the grocery store. And then we had a kid that was making prank phone calls to teachers in July. And it was just like one of those things where these kids were doing it on their own free time. You guys know how it is. Everyone looks back at the football coach, and these are football kids. So it doesn't matter if it's December, April, June, or July. Like, it's a football problem. So that year started off like really bad, and I had to dismiss a coach early on. And we nicotine test here at Toronto. So like, it's a drug test, but it also tests for nicotine. We had 5 kids that failed a nicotine test going into the first week of the year. Those kids didn't get to play that game. We ended up losing that game. But then we rattled off the next 6. We lost, and then we ended up still going to 8-2. Also, within that course of the year, I had one of my players committed suicide. That was really hard, especially in a small community where it's real tight knit. And I think as a coach, you look back to yourself and you just wonder, like, did I miss something? Was there something I could have done that could have prevented that? And you blame yourself a lot. You do a lot of self-reflecting. And it was hard, man. I'm telling you, that 8-2 season was like really hard. And I think during that self-reflecting, it was, what are you doing this for? Yeah, it's fun and you enjoy it, but really, what are you doing it for? And I think any coach that kind of looks at themselves or looks in the mirror and asks that question, like, you realize that you're doing it for the kids. You know what I mean? Like, you're there to make their lives better, to create opportunities that maybe they don't have or wouldn't have without you. So yesterday, one of my offensive linemen got offered by UMass, and he didn't tag me on Twitter. He tagged the new Toronto head coach on Twitter, and him and the quarterback were like in my class. They were laughing. They're like, "Oh yeah, that hurts, don't it? That hurts." And we're just like laughing about it. And I looked at him. I said, "Doesn't hurt." I said, "I never did it for my own recognition. I did it for you. Like, I did it because I want better for you guys. I want the most for you. I want more options for you." And I think, again, that's why you do it. It's not my program. I'm just here to help these kids. It's their program. And I'm just here to make it fun and make it as a successful season as I possibly can, because at the end of the day, this is a game, right? It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy it and you're supposed to have fun doing it. I think that's what a coach it does. If you're a coach and your kids aren't having fun, you're not a good coach. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I can get down with that statement actually, though. But I feel like also I'm a person that the one statement I don't like about having fun is it should be about just being fun. But I believe you can't have fun unless you're winning too, though.
Right.
Because, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, every time we lose, that is not fun at all.
But see, and I think there's a correlation there. And again, I guess when I'm talking about fun, like, what are your practices like?
Right. No, for sure.
Do the kids want to be there? Do they want to be at practice? Because they don't want to be there, you're not going to get anything accomplished. They don't want to be there. It's misery. Think about places like you're forced to go as an adult that you don't want to be at. It's a waste of your time. So, like, I try really hard to make sure that our practices are fun and that kids enjoy being there. Because if they enjoy being there and they're having fun at practice, like, they're going to be more invested. And then that usually shows up on Friday nights, and that usually helps you win football games.
Hey, and then also I had a question, though, looking at it and looking at your Twitter and everything, seeing that you guys had an elite quarterback at Toronto. Obviously, you say he's committed to Cincinnati, and then you come into another quarterback that I would consider elite in the area of Gwynn. What are some similarities that you've seen from those guys that you're excited to be able to do the same things with Gwynn? It makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, but not much. They're very different. They both throw the ball really well. They both have accuracy and strong. They have a strong arm on them. But I think the comparison probably stops there. I think Zeb down here at Toronto. So Zeb's 6'4", 225 right now. He's like coaching Josh Allen. He runs a 4.72. And when you get, especially at our level of football, you get a 6'4", 225-pound man moving that fast. There's not many kids that want to step in front of him. So, again, he's like Josh Allen. And then working with Jason so far and being able to watch his film and work with him, the opportunities I can get up there, he's like working with Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? It's just very different styles. But with that being said, we had a lot of QB run game with Zeb at Toronto. And a lot of that's going to transition right over to Jason. And it might look a little different because it's a different style runner, but ultimately it's still football and it's still QB run game. And I think Jason is going to have a stellar season, both on the ground and through the air. And again, I'm excited to work with him. He is a dynamic athlete. And I think there's some questions on whether he can play quarterback at the next level. But from what I can tell you right now is this kid's a quarterback. He's going to be a really good quarterback. And I think there's some colleges right now that are only looking at him as an athlete that are really going to regret it, because I think he's a dynamic quarterback, and I think he's out to prove that this year.
He's definitely elite with the ball in his hand. There's no question about that. That's what everybody knows for sure.
Yes. No, Coach, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
For sure.
We really appreciate you taking time out of your night to hop on here with us. It's always a blast.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you guys having me. Like anytime you want to talk ball, man, I'd be more than happy to.
Hey, absolutely. Welcome, Coach. And if you ever need anything, I'm down the road when you get to Westerville. And if you got any questions or anything, you want to ever talk anything, just let me know. But welcome and excited to have you.
Thanks, man.
Sayers, man, wrap it up. Let's do this.
Thank you guys all for joining. Make sure, listen, whoever's our listeners, make sure you subscribe or you download the video on YouTube. Do everything you can for us to make sure we're raising those numbers and everything. We appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure also, coaches, and maybe Coach Franke, you might be able to use this, but if you're about to get into your fundraising piece of the off season, make sure you contact Fundraising University, Ohio, and Brent Maxwell, because he'll get you all the way together. That's who I use, and he's done a phenomenal job for us to where we've been able to do the 3 new game jerseys. Our kids have travel suits. Our kids, they get their 7-on-7 gear. They've been able to get whatever they've wanted, and that's all thanks to Brent Maxwell over at Fundraising University. Also, like Stout said, make sure you contact Story Rivals if you guys want to get your player packs together. We appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. See you, everybody.
See you guys.